Hi, welcome back, and it's been a week now since F1 2020 released, and I've been playing it pretty heavily, in all honesty. So I wanted, following on from my initial impressions and a few other videos, put a final review in place for it. So let's start with the positives, because I've got to be honest, it's a big list of positives. The initial thing is, it's excellent presentation, but you kind of come to expect that from the F1 series, and it looks and sounds great. It really does. It's hard to criticise it in that regard. The wet weather in particular looks really good, and it's got a really good photo mode as well to take advantage of that, which is great to see. You know, these are things that we kind of take for granted in the F1 series, or have done for a long time since Codemasters have been playing around with it. But one thing that has improved over the last few years, and one of the reasons why in the past I've never been able to really 100% gel with the series, is there have been some really odd peculiarities to the physics. I mean, F1 2019 was well known for you could downshift rapidly and use that to rotate the car, and that came to light during the esports that were going on at the start of the lockdown, and a couple of the F1 drivers on the grid were vocally critical with 2019 for this, and Codemasters have quite clearly taken notice of that, because it's actually really got solid physics now in 2020. The physics, it's not high-level sim that some people may want, but it's a good, solid physics model that does what you expect it to, with no real unpleasant surprises, and it's paired with a good force feedback model as well. It does what you expect it to do. It feels convincing. It's never going to be the last word in a simulation, but it's not meant to be. That's not really the point of F1 2020, or really any of the F1 games, but this is the first one that does actually feel convincing enough to keep a wide range of people very happy, and certainly I'm extremely pleased with the improvements they've made over F1 2019 and the previous titles. One of the other things they've added to in regard to that is the level of accessibility. Now, I did a video in this previously looking at the accessibility side of things, and what they've put in place for this, I personally think makes F1 2020 one of the most accessible racing titles, and gives it the widest range of appeal. From somebody who loves Formula One but has never played a racing game on a console or PC and wants to get into it, right the way up to somebody who does like sim racing, maybe wants something that's a little bit more light than a full-blown hardcore sim, but it does appeal to that massively wide demographic, and they've done a really solid job with it in that regard. What we've also got now is full calendar for F2 as well as F1, which is good to see, but with F1 you do get the options to play reduced calendars as well, which is quite nice, because a lot of people don't want to put in the full 22 races worth. But again, with the accessibility, you can choose whether to do a full weekend, one-shot qualifying, or full-blown qualifying, or even skip all of those things. Hell, you could simulate every single stage of it and let the computer, the AI do the entire work for you if you really wanted to. One of the new things for this year as well, which is a positive, is the My Team approach, which builds on the kind of team management elements that have been being added in over the last few years with the series, with the R&D tree and the development around that, and it's now added into basically you being the 11th team on the grid, bringing another two cars into play, with you being an owner driver, and recruiting an F2 driver and building that through, and you can run that My Team aspect right the way through the 10 seasons worth of gameplay if you want to, which is it's a really nice feature, and it does work extremely well, and it builds that level of accessibility in there, which is good. The title itself's got good online support, and it's gearing up for being a good esport platform as well. And what it does really well is it builds that F1 atmosphere into the title from the very beginning all the way through. If you want to pick it up to live out an F1 driver fantasy, it does that exceptionally well. It is really immersive in that regard. And I suspect that for a lot of people is why they pick it up and why they enjoy it. And they've nailed that once again. As always, the AI is actually good. It works well. There's a good range of difficulty in there, from the piss poor, such as myself, right the way up to the people that want a seriously difficult challenge within it, and it offers that entire range in there, which is great to see. And tying in with the My Team stuff, there is a basic livery editor added in as well, and that kind of folds into the start of the negative points, which is the livery editor could do with being a bit better. I mean, you're picking from preset designs, which you can then change the colour scheme on, and you can also then put some sponsorship decals on there as well. And I've done a video on that as well. It's in with the My Team introduction, so take a look at that if you want a bit more of an overview of what goes into that. But in all fairness, this is new for the F1 series anyway, so it's not something they've been used to putting together. It's functional, but, it is a little bit of a negative, but it's not a major one. Obviously, some people would consider the fact that it's F1 and F2 as a negative, but, it's kind of on the box. It's a bit obvious what you're getting out of this. So, if you are massively surprised by that, then, what else do you really expect? And then the only thing that I personally feel is out of place is they put a season pass in there. Now, it is purely cosmetic. It opens up podium celebrations and race suits and gloves and helmets, and also liveries, so these preset liveries I talked about, and it's a bit odd, but it's at least it's not giving you anything in there that's game breaking, which is good. There is some DLC if you didn't get it for a few of the additional historic cars, but there's nothing in there that you need to buy or have to have, so I can live with it in all honesty. So, really wrapping it all up, there's a huge list of positives for FY 2020, very few negatives, and it's a title that, being perfectly honest, if you are after a Formula One title, I can't recommend it strongly enough. It is one of the most rounded titles to come out this year. It offers an awful lot of depth, but it also allows you to just drop in and play it very casually if you want. It's satisfying to play, it looks great, the AI reacts well. All in all, it's an extremely well-rounded package that I'm quite happy to recommend to a huge range of people looking at a racing title and looking at F1. So, yep, that's my thoughts on it. Let me know what your view on it is down below in the comments. And if you picked it up, share what you think about it as well. Feel free to do that. If you've enjoyed this video, please do hit the like button. And if you want to see more content like this, please do subscribe away and hit the alert button. Thanks very much. Take care. Bye.